So, like, given a chance, in what areas or for what communities, in what kind of policies you want to see any changes? If you got any opportunity.
Okay, so we're talking about if I win the pre-selection.
Exactly.
And then we're also talking about if I win the election.
Elections,
So
not
levels.
only with the elections and all also, like, as a candidate, let's say, apart from the candidate also,
Okay.
you're having a lot of policies
yes.
changes that
Yes.
you wanted to make
Yep.
within
Yep. So right now I'm studying two policies.
Okay.
Whether I win the pre-selection, whether I do not win, whether I win the pre-selection and I win the parliament seat or do not win, or I do not win, I believe you can always make a contribution.
Of course.
You can always make a contribution as an activist. For example, without even being very active in Labour Party, one of my projects has impacted the state government policy. So I developed Breakfast Clubs model. The Premier of Victoria, Daniel Andrews, went to one of the schools with me to understand how I run my Breakfast Club.
Okay.
So he went to Silverton Primary School on 8th of October 2014 with me. And I went there with him and explained to him how I run. He picked up my model and he has adopted that as his policy. So you can see that without being even very active in politics, I brought that change. And without being directly involved in politics, I want to say. Yeah. His policy, his government, which is the current Victorian government, is feeding 25,000 school children across 5 schools. So I was saying that irrespective I get in or not, I will be able to make a difference. So I am looking at two policies. TAFE system. The TAFE system is predominantly private sector now. The government funding is being withdrawn from TAFE, and I, as an educationist, I am not in favor of contestable funding. Not entirely, because contestable funding, what happens is you allow the education system to be operated as a market. And when you make education as a free market or health services as a free market, things do not work. So I am studying where there are gaps in the TAFE system and how we can fix it. But at the end of the day, I need to keep in mind that even if I get in, I'm not going to become the premier and I'm not going to become education minister. So I will have to find ways how I can motivate and influence the policy. The second policy which is of my interest is the youth justice, youth affairs. Out of home care, a lot of young people, children, kids are taken away from the families due to various reasons, and they are in out of home care. They are in the foster care. And that system, I believe, has a lot of gaps. A lot of youth become disengaged because you might be living in a foster care, you might be living out of care, but the affection and the care that your parents will give, that you can't expect. So therefore, some youth become disengaged. When the disengaged youth is then, we are seeing that there was a rise in youth crime. So we need to go back to the root cause. The root cause could be that we may need to improve the foster care or out of care. I don't know. I haven't looked at the policy yet. But those two areas are of my special interest. But again, there will be other areas as well that I would like to study, find gaps, and try and work. One of the areas where I am working very heavily is extension of Royal Commission on Family Violence. I'm working with a professor from RMIT University, along with her, and there is another person who is expert in justice. This lady is expert how justice is done, how courts work. So we're looking at the current gaps where Royal Commission said that in Victoria, a lot of women are suffering from family violence. Men are also sometimes victims, but the evidence shows predominantly it's women. Royal Commission said the current policies are not able to basically establish a direct nexus between financial control and family violence.
Okay.
Because in Australia or in Victoria, if you are separating as husband and wife, then the courts would say the issue of family violence is one thing, your financial settlement and child's custody and all those things are different.
Yeah.
Well, they are basically connected. That's what the Royal Commission found, and that's what we are looking at.
Okay.
We are looking at that policies as well. So that would be third area of my interest.